Hello everyone, this is an installation of Hahn QA1 coilover shock absorbers on a slingshot, and what we have here for you today is a pretty nicely appointed set. These are the triple adjustable. They're adjustable for both compression and rebound damping, as well as for height via the spanner nuts here that attach the spring. These also happen to have the spring bearings in that fit between the spring and the spring seat. And spring bearings are used for machines that will get the height adjusted often. If you don't plan to adjust your height very often, there's no need for the spring bearings. So let's take a look over at the slingshot now. We're going to start over here in front, and you will notice that we've got the slingshot jacked up at both ends right now. We did that for a quick video. You can jack it up at both ends, or you can just do one end at a time. But what is critical is that when you do the front, we do both sides simultaneously. We want to have the entire front jacked up and off the ground before we try to remove the stock ones, which, as you can see, we've already done, or before we try to put in the new ones. And the reason for this is the front end, of course, is attached from one side to the other via the sway bar. The sway bar attaches the lower control arms in such a fashion that, as you can see, the wheels move up and down together. So when we want to push one wheel down, if we don't have the other side undone as well, it can resist our efforts to try to push the wheel down to get the coilover in. Now, you will note that your new Hahn QA1 coilovers are a bit longer than stock. This is normal, and it's another reason why doing both sides at once is critical so that we can get enough clearance to get them installed. So let's go ahead and set one of those up right now. We'll move back over here to the coilovers. And each Hahn QA1 set comes with all of the installation hardware you need. These are the stock bolts that we're going to reuse. I'll start with one of the front ones. I'm going to just pick it up, and we've got two styles of bushings here. The bushings with the thin flanges go on top. The bushings with the thicker flanges go on the bottom. This is also true for the single rear coilover. All right, so we typically install them in this position, which is to say with the adjusting knobs at the bottom. So we just lower it into place. And what I like to do is put the lower bolt in first and then the upper. Okay, so I'm going to just let this sit here for one moment while I get that bolt handy. Okay, moving in now. And we'll get that lower mount in place, line up the holes, in the bolt goes, and we're ready. Now I'm going to push the wheel down a little bit and get this up into the pocket here. Okay, because before we put that upper bolt in, so that we've got good movement of the front suspension, we're going to go do the other side. So, same drill. We'll put the thicker bushings on the bottom, we'll put the thinner bushings on top. We'll have a bolt this time. Come on over here to the driver's side, and we're going to get it in position, get it underneath the upper mount first. I think with this one I've got an oil cooler in the way, so I can't swing it in as hard as I might like, but let's see what we can do to get everything to line up. Yeah, I think in this instance I'm going to have to push down on the suspension a little bit. Let's see if we can get her to go in there. Generally, we like to come at these from the inside. But as we can see, this one's going to be a little different. So let's see. Since we can't swing it in as far as we'd like due to that oil cooler being in the way. Everybody loves the customizer slingshots. This one's no exception. This particular slingshot belongs to a gentleman from Oklahoma, good customer of ours by the name of Greg Hartman. Thank you very much for allowing us to do this on your machine, sir. And of course, thank you for your purchase of Hahn QA1 shock coilovers for the slingshot. All right, so we've managed to get it in there. Now, since both bottom bolts are in and both coilovers are in position, I'm going to go ahead and get the top bolts. You can do either side first, it really doesn't matter. What I like to do is get my feet under the wheel. It's kind of like having that third hand. And I just move it up, Bolt goes through. Very easy, very straightforward to install these yourself in the field. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And bolt goes through. Now we'll go ahead and continue that and finish that later. What we're going to do is, of course, just tighten up the nuts. Then we're done. Now we'll move to the rear installation. Now there's two different ways to do the rear installation. Same basic arrangement. Thick ones on the bottom, thin ones on the top. And when I say there's two different ways, it's really up to you how you want to do it. What we've done here is a more conventional way of taking down the rear panel that exists above the rear wheel so that we may gain excellent access to the top mounting point. There is a second way to do this that I'll show you in a moment, but here we go. Now we can just go to putting this right in at the top. It's a little different than the front, where we install the bottom first. Here in the back, it's a little easier to install the top first. Okay, so a little more of a tight spot. And you might notice the head of the bolt is protruding into a little hole in what is the backside of the luggage compartment. I'll show you more about that here in a minute. Of course, this one has a nut that's welded to the chassis. That's right there. So we don't push this bolt through, we just get it threaded and started and bring it in. Now, right here by my finger, my middle finger there, you can see that hole. That hole is accessible behind the seat in the passenger luggage compartment, and enables you to stick a socket and a ratchet up in there and it accesses this bolt from in there. Now, of course, with this panel off, that's not very critical. But there is a second way to do this, as I told you about, and I'm going to inform you of that now. You can also, with this panel in place, if you've got a really small hand and really good finger skills, you can get up in there, put your hand alongside the coilover, and access that top bolt. Oftentimes it helps to have a helper working through the hole in the passenger cargo compartment to help you locate that bolt and get it started when you're working from underneath with this panel in place. So the way you do it is up to you, whatever you're most comfortable with. Obviously it's quicker to do it without removing this rear panel, but it definitely is a little more challenging. All right, so now we're just gonna locate the bottom, and we have to, of course, lift up the rear suspension. So I'm gonna see if I can do the old foot trick again here. I've got the parking brake set so that the wheel won't turn. Looks like I need a little bit of help from my hand, but that's all right. Got my foot under there, keeping it in position. I will slide the bolt through. Now, this is an aftermarket lower mount, so it may look a little different than your stock mount, but same basic deal. Bolt goes through, nut goes on, tighten it all up. So that's it. It's really that easy to install. And a couple of cautions about vehicle height. Let's take another look at the front. Of course, your kit does come with spanner wrenches, which enable you to adjust the height. If you adjust the height of your machine, keep in mind that we ship the Hahn QA1 coilovers in a configuration that mimics stock height. So if you want to run stock height, just bolt them in and run them. If you choose to lower the vehicle, two things you've got to keep in mind. One, any change in height of the front suspension or rear suspension will require a couple of extra things to look at. In the front, it is alignment. When we lower the front end to any degree from stock, we actually create more camber, which brings the top of the front wheel in, and we also change toe in a bit, in that the toe becomes slightly more toed in. Now, do you need to realign? Only if you're going to put like 20,000 miles on your Slingshot a year. It just so happens that those angle changes that are made in the front end by slightly lowering it, by slightly I mean a half inch, maybe up to an inch, those are actually higher performance angle characteristics for your front end alignment. The machine will handle better, but will wear the tires a little more with those particular settings. If you're a purist and you just want to get it aligned right back to stock specs, there's any number of shops that can do the alignments on them for you. What's popular these days, of course, are the laser alignments. Now let's talk about lowering in the back. And of course, you can also use these coilovers to raise your machine from stock. Raising would also change the front end angles, but not in a performance fashion. Any raising should be accompanied by a realignment. Here in the back, here's what we got to know. If we lower the machine, the drive belt will be loosened. And, excuse me, if we raise the machine, the drive belt will be loosened. If we lower it, the drive belt gets tighter. So let's review that one more time. If we lower the machine, which brings the rear wheel further up, it will tighten the drive belt. If we raise the machine, which brings the rear wheel further down in relation to the machine, it will loosen the drive belt. If you do choose to change the height in the back, do check drive belt tension. If you're not sure how to ensure correct tension, have somebody who knows how to do it, like your Polaris dealer. Well, that's it, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed our quick install here on Hahn QA1 coilovers. Of course, you can learn more about this product at www.hahn.racecraft. We're available here from Monday through Friday for your questions as well. Take care, and I hope to talk to you all again soon.